And good evening, Australia. Welcome to the platform. I'm Michael Kazilny. A super fantastic show coming up tonight. We've got the great man, I reckon the world's #1 celebrity agent, Max Markson, joining us on the couch. He's a terrific fella. Darren Sutton is the founder behind Las Vegas male stripper sensation Aussie Heat. He'll be joining us on the couch. We've got our fantastic regulars, Rosie Faraci, Warwick Kappa for a bit of fun and games. And to take us out, another music sensation on the platform, X Factor star Timmy Knowles. But to start the show, let's have a look at the great man, Max Markson.
Max Markson is almost as famous as his celebrity charges. The talent manager and publicity king started his PR business, Markson Sparks, in 1982. It wasn't long before he fell into the world of celebrity management after cricketer Greg Matthews approached him.
He went down on his hands and knees and begged me to manage him. So I said, okay. So we started managing him, and I thought, I better manage some other people too. So I rang, I'm mates with Jeff Fennick. So I rang Jeff, I said, Jeff, can I manage you? He said, yeah, okay, and he hung up on me straight away. So I had 3 stars. I had Jeff Fennick, Wally Massoud and Greg Matthews, and I managed in the course of those next 2 years to get no money for them whatsoever. I thought, this management stuff ain't working, you know. In 1990, I think Jane Fleming changed my life. So I started managing Jane, and all of a sudden the phone is like ringing like mad, people wanting to book her for things. And she couldn't do it all because she's training hard for the next sport. So I'd say, well, do you want somebody else? Like, I'd be selling them Jeff Fennick, Wally Massoud, and mates like Kamal, and then Ita Buttrose rang me, and people started ringing me then. And it just grew from there.
After more than 2 decades of wheeling and dealing with celebrities, he believes he knows the secret to luring anyone down under.
It's all about the money. Show me the money. And hopefully they want to come to Australia. And hopefully, if I've rung up and said, look, I've already brought President Clinton, President Bush Sr., Nelson Mandela, Rudy Giuliani, Al Gore, I'd love you to come as my guest and we do some speaking engagements.
Max Markson, you are the king. Thank you very much for coming on the platform.
My pleasure. Thank you, Michael.
Mate, you've represented so many high-profile people, but I reckon you're the star.
You're very kind to say that.
More than 25 years in this game, having fun. How do you explain that, Max?
I enjoy myself. I enjoy getting up in the morning and doing what I do. I just have fun.
And I know you, Max, when you say it's all about the money, it's not. You really enjoy people, and you enjoy finding their strengths and making them famous.
I think you've got to enjoy what you do.
Yeah.
And if you enjoy what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
And I don't think I work. I mean, I do work, obviously, but I mean, I don't think of it as work.
Well, a lot of people who know you, they say you're always smiling. They've never seen you angry. Always smiling, always positive.
I know I get frustrated sometimes if something doesn't, if I can't make something work technically or whatever, but most of the time I get away with it, and I'm lucky.
Max, it's been a beautiful journey. It all started when you were very young and you moved to King's Cross. In a nutshell, how did you get into this amazing calling?
My father was a high diver, so he used to literally dive from high diving water into a bucket of water. And he had an aqua show, which was like an ice show but in water with synchronised swimmers and divers. So I started doing that. I was a spotlight operator when I was about 5 years old. And then I learned how to build post. And that's how I started. And then my dad died when I was 15.
And where was that, Max? That was
Bournemouth on the south coast of England.
Okay.
Then I started promoting pop groups and Radio 1 disc jockeys. And then I came here when I was 21 years old. And I worked for an importer promoting biorhythm calculators and negative ion generators. And then I opened a nightclub called The Zoo, and I was the head zookeeper. And every week I'd have a celebrity as guest DJ. So I had Brooke Shields, Evel Knievel, Jeff Boycott, Dennis Lilly. And then I worked for a radio station for a couple of years. Then I started my business, Markson Sparks, and that started in 1982. So I've been going 36 years this year.
Amazing. Tell me about some of the exciting people you've met and represented.
I think that I've been fortunate and honoured to be able to work with Nelson Mandela, President Clinton, President Bush Sr., Rudy Giuliani, Al Gore, Tony Blair, Kim Kardashian, Pele, Mike Tyson, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I really have been honoured and blessed to be able to have those experiences and have incredible stories about these people and spending time with them.
And Max, you're a bit different to a lot of the, I wouldn't even call them competitors because you're the class act in the game, but Because of your lovely down-to-earth personality, you actually stay friends with them, a lot of these people, you know?
Well, I think
they're more than a client.
Well, if you spend time with someone, you're on the road with them for a week, and they're only doing, say, 5 engagements in the space of a week, so they might be working for 2 hours when they're on stage, but the other time you've got to look after them, so you've got to go and, not that I can play golf, play golf with a Rudy Giuliani or a President Clinton, or you've got to take them out for meals, and you've got to, so you get to know them, and so once they've broken down their, you know, the veneer, or I've stopped being myself, being polite, then I can play up, you know.
It must be very difficult to bring out an ex-president from the United States. What does it involve?
Secret Service galore. I remember the first time I brought President Clinton, I got a phone call from the Attorney General's office and I had to come to a meeting. And I walk into this meeting, I was late because I'm often late. And I walk in and there's like 20 people in the room. I said, what are all these people here? So, well, I'm from the Attorney General's office, there's my assistant, and this is the police. Police said, yeah, this is for the motorcade. Motorcade, everywhere you go, you'll have a motorcade, Mr. Markson. He said, and these people? Oh, this is the terror threat assessment people from the police. This is the local police. And who are these 5 guys? Oh, they're from the US Secret Service. I said, but the event's not for 10 days. They're already in the country checking everything out. And then when you do something with a Tony Blair or President Clinton or President Bush Sr., you literally, during the week before, go and walk every step that they're going to make. We might go to this restaurant, so we've got to go there. We might do this. What are the entries? Where's the hospital? Where's the venue? Where's the hotel? And the Secret Service are fantastic because they have somebody set at the hospital, someone at the venue, someone at the hotel, and they have teams, they rotate teams. At one stage in 2002, I had 60 Secret Service agents in the country, and we were hopping from city to city doing a 5-city tour. It's just, you know, but they say, where are you going to go? And they don't put any controls on you, so we're going to do this, this and this. They make it happen for you.
We found a clip, Togsy found a clip, let's have a look at this.
A clip.
Max Markson is without doubt a colourful spin merchant.
He's even been blamed for the breakup of Lara Bingle and Michael Clark.
Max Markson.
If you want something, need to spin it good. Who are you going to call?
Max Markson.
If your public image don't look good, who are you going to call?
Max Markson.
In his world, there's no such thing as bad publicity. He ain't afraid of bad press.
Doesn't matter. All people remember at the end of the day is the name.
He ain't afraid of bad press. If you're chick chick boo, but you need a room, Claire Werble, go keep calm.
Max Markson.
If you partied on when your mama never gone, ow, who can you call? Corey Worthington.
Max Markson.
You can turn something bad to make it good.
He ain't afraid of bad press.
It's good for business. It's fantastic for business. Makes the phone ring.
He ain't afraid of bad press.
Max is all news, good news.
Absolutely. Credit to Dennis Carnahan who wrote that song. Yeah, I think the media feed on stories, and if it's a bad story, it gets forgotten about. You just keep going. You're only as good as your last story. And it's the same for journalists. They write a story, they're only as good as their last story. And if something happens, if it's a negative story, just keep pushing on. And if it's a good story, well, again, you've got to keep pushing on. You don't stop.
And Max, looking at your beautiful journey, the roller coaster ride, who was your favourite client and maybe the worst client?
Favourite client would definitely be President Clinton. I love him genuinely, and I'm privileged to have worked with him since 2001. And I was hosting him when 9/11 hit. We'd done 3 events in 3 days, and we paid him $450,000 US, which at the time was $900,000 Australian. And we cleared profit for the Children's Hospital the first time of $1.2 million on the 8th of September. And on 9/11. He was in Port Douglas and 9/11 hit, and my phone starts ringing like crazy, and the Secret Service closed him down, and George W. Bush, who was in office, signed a special order to send a military jet from Guam to pick him up and take him back to America because planes weren't flying at the time. And I remember 4 or 5 years later, I was in New York and I'd seen him, and it was at a function with Radio City Music Hall with about 2,500, 3,000 people there, and I'm sitting there, I had a seat there in the front row, and a question comes up about 9/11, and without missing a beat, he says, I was in Australia at that time with this guy, Max Markson, pointing at me, you know, which is a hell of a name check, I guess.
Max, when you walk down the street of Melbourne, Sydney, Australia, people love you and recognise you. What about when you go overseas? Do they know the great man there?
No, and I don't think people recognise me here either.
Oh, of course they do. They're just too afraid to speak to you because you're that superstar status. Who's coming out in the next few months or this year?
Well, in February, Harry Dent, who's a fantastic economic forecaster. So he's touring the nation, and he'll be in Melbourne on Monday, the 26th of February.
Terrific.
And then in March, which Arnold Schwarzenegger, who I've known for 5 years and looked after him, done work with him every time he comes here. He'll be here for the Arnold Multi-Sports Festival.
Thank you.
And that's on March 16 to 18 at the Melbourne Convention Exhibition Centre. Children are free, under 15, as long as you're accompanied by an adult. And there's enormous multi-sports festival for the kids to take part in as well, sports activities for them, because Arnold's on a mission to get the kids off the couch and to a worldwide fitness crusade, to get the whole world fit. He is passionate about that. So,
Max, I was going to ask you a question. What about if there's somebody out there who's got real talent at something, but they're a bit worried about the opinions of other people, and they call you? How do you make them famous if they are talented?
Look, I think the one thing for them in their mind, whether they call me or anybody, is Arnold Schwarzenegger, one of his 5 tips for success is don't listen to the naysayers. So forget what people say, stay on your path and focus on it. My message to them to become famous, get your social media happening, because that's free and you can do that. Post on your Instagram feed, post on your Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat. Be active on social media and follow your dream. Do what you want to do. That's really important.
Love that. One last question, Max. What are the plans for the great man over the next 10 years?
For me, live, enjoy myself, keep doing what I'm doing. I don't want to retire. I think people who retire, I worry about them dying. I think you've got to keep some level of stress going and keep going and enjoy myself.
Max Markson, thank you very much for the pleasure of your company. Have a really fantastic year. And we'll be back very shortly on the platform with the great man, Warwick Kappa, and Warwick's World.